to the House for the budget bill.
My responsibility is to get that bill over the line.
Combs' jury goes back to work.
Racketeering is such a unique crime. Many jurors don't understand how it applies.
Massive fireworks explosion.
What was that? It shook the whole house.
Good morning. I'm Steve Kathan. With the CBS World News Roundup, the House of Representatives takes up the Trump budget bill that narrowly passed the Senate yesterday. CBS's Caitlin Huey-Burns says members of both parties in the House have raised concern about the sharp cuts to Medicaid and nutrition programs.
Some Republican House members were quick to rain on the Senate's parade.
What the Senate did to our bill was unconscionable. I'll vote against it here, and I'll vote against it on the floor till we get it right.
House Speaker Mike Johnson acknowledged the tough road ahead after the Senate's changes, including steeper cuts to Medicaid.
I encouraged them to amend it as quickly as possible. They went a little further than many of us would have preferred.
President Trump had a message for House Republicans. Stay united, have fun, and vote yay. The bill would extend $4.5 trillion in tax cuts while adding new tax relief on tips and overtime pay. But it also cuts roughly $1 trillion from health care programs like Medicaid.
Some members of the House are battling the weather to return to Washington. Storms caused flight cancellations and forced South Carolina Republican Russell Fry and others to drive to D.C.
I'm not going to chance being stuck in Myrtle Beach. The moment is too important to sit around and wait in an airport.
More than 1,500 flights were canceled yesterday, hundreds more today by the storm system that swept through the Northeast. The Wisconsin Supreme Court has struck down that state's 176-year-old abortion ban, ruling that it's been superseded by a newer state law that criminalizes abortions only after a fetus survives outside the womb. The jury in the Sean Combs sex trafficking trial has been told to keep at it by the judge after saying they had reached a partial verdict late yesterday. Legal analyst Lori Levinson.
They have found a verdict on 4 of the 5 counts, but they have not yet reached a verdict on the biggest count, and that's a racketeering charge. The court is sending them back for more deliberations, even though the jury says they can't reach a verdict.
Now to Idaho, CBS's Carter Evans tells us Brian Kohberger will be in court today to plead guilty to the murders of 4 college students, a deal that will spare him the death penalty.
He'll spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole or appeal. Now, Kohberger is accused of fatally stabbing 4 students in Moscow, Idaho in November of 2022. Their families are divided on how they view this plea deal.
Tesla reports a more than 13% drop in second quarter auto sales amid increased competition and backlash over Elon Musk's political activities. Overseas, Hamas has said it's open to a ceasefire with Israel, but insists any deal must end the war in Gaza. President Trump announced Israel's agreement to a 60-day ceasefire plan, but there's been no comment from Israel. And correspondent Deborah Patta has the latest on an aid group that's been heavily criticized for its activities in Gaza.
Doctors and eyewitnesses we've spoken to say Israeli soldiers have repeatedly opened fire on people waiting for food near the U.S.-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation sites, which are secured by private American contractors. We spoke to the foundation's new head and former spiritual advisor to President Trump, Reverend Johnny Moore.
We can't control what happens outside of our distribution sites. Our whole reason for existing is to get food to these people so they can live.
Why not do it the way that's been tried and tested?
We've said again and again and again to the United Nations, the World Food Program, join us in this effort.
Do you think it's acceptable that people die every day trying to access aid? How are you going to make sure that there is a better way?
We've made a decision that it's worth operating in a war zone with all the complexity and all the risk, as deadly as it is, because Gazans deserve food.
Also in the region, Iran today suspended its cooperation with the UN's nuclear watchdog. It's the World News Roundup, and it's 4 minutes after the hour.
Well, that's today's news. I didn't hear any good news, did you? I didn't think so. I guess it's all about perspective. The glass is half full. Well, as always, I want to thank you again for coming along with me on these Dash Cam News adventures. You know the drill. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz. Bye-bye, everybody. It's 54 degrees in America.